Winnipeg is back in the
Landing Strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Welcome back to the Landing Strip, presented by From Financial, as we are here after the Buffalo Sabres. Yes, that is the Buffalo Sabres, not the Colorado Avalanche or a team like that. That is the Buffalo Sabres that just laid a what I'd call a pretty big spanking on the Winnipeg Jets in Buffalo tonight. Houston, we have many problems. We have many problems here. But as your tank commander, I am here to find the positives with you as well. And the way this thing's going without Mr. Hellebuck, they might sneak their way into some good fortune here after all. A lot of places to go with this one. Mikey, how are you doing tonight?
I've actually got a very quick, short little clip here to show everybody what I'm thinking and feeling right now. So I'm going to hit it.
I don't even know what's coming.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. We'll soon be here.
Yeah, so it's that's kind of how I'm feeling. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Because if you're thinking about today, you're probably gonna cry. That was a tough game to get through. I'm feeling bad for the Jets. I'm feeling bad for the fans. I'm just feeling bad after that one, man.
And after that clip, we get a comment from Cranberry, feeling 10 on the tankometer after that game. And if we look at this honestly from a big picture standpoint, it would be the best thing to happen to this organization. They badly need it. But Mikey, let's start with you, because we get a compliment from our guy, Mr. Angus, over on YouTube saying, "I'm glad Top Line doesn't no-show like the Jets did tonight." Hey, we might mail it in. We don't know. We don't know what the show quality is going to look like after a game like that. Mikey, what is your big takeaway for the Winnipeg Jets versus Buffalo Sabres here tonight?
Does everybody remember how good we felt when the Jets got to draft number 2 overall? Wasn't that a nice feeling? Do you guys remember that? That felt really good. Just no reason. Just maybe hold on to that thought and that feeling again. That was a tough one to get through tonight. Like you said, this wasn't the Colorado Avalanche. This wasn't some juggernaut of a team. You know, after they barely scraped by against Nashville, you're going up against the worst team in the East, and you come out with just the most absolute painfully bad game you could possibly play. At every spot. Didn't matter if it was, puck battles along the boards, giving up the middle of the ice. There was multiple times tonight I had to stop and count the players on the ice because I'm like, are we on the penalty kill? How many of us are there? There's 1, 2, no, there's 5 of us. There's definitely 5 Jets players on the ice, but you couldn't tell for most of it. No sustained offensive pressure at all. It was painful, absolutely painful game to watch. Every issue we've looked at throughout the course of the year reared its ugly head during this game today. So, I came out of that one real upset, top to bottom.
Yeah, it turns out the Nashville Predators, and playing a close game against those Nashville Predators wasn't a good omen. That things were starting to turn as right from early on in this one. And you know what my big takeaway is, and I'm going to use this to transition here, because Mackie says, why did it take them a while to put up the post-game live? Did Artie yell at them, or did they all hold hands and cry? Mike McIntyre, who's the only journalist on the scene, tweeted out that it seems like they were having a closed-door meeting. So we'll see if them yelling can solve the clear physical problems this team has that yelling and screaming is not going to fix. This is a bad roster built in a bad way that fundamentally can't succeed. And the funny part is, we heard it from our GM yesterday. Mike McIntyre puts out an article from a sit-down with Kevin Cheveldayoff. And I find this hilarious, these quotes back to back, because we get on the Prime broadcast today, unbiased look at the team. This was my first time watching on Prime because every game last year was a home game. Really like the broadcast. Really impressed with the look of it.
Isn't it great?
Really, yeah, like the pregame too. Honestly, a different vibe. Like it feels like you're settling into the arena.
I love the arena sound for the pregame. That's one of my absolute favorite parts about it. I think Prime's done a great job. Yeah.
But less than 24 hours ago, we get this quote from Kevin Cheveldayoff. To win in the National Hockey League, you have to play fast. Today, on the broadcast, former NHL pro Thomas Hickey. The game is too fast for the Jets right now.
Period.
Do they know? Do they know? This is fundamentally the team that Kevin Cheveldayoff bet on. And one of the things, because we talked about this before, and I thought this was a credit to the Winnipeg Jets of last year, where you had suggested that they still needed more speed, and it would have been nice. We talked about mobile beef last year.
Yep.
But I had suggested last year's team had still played up to a speed that maybe they couldn't skate to, but with the cohesion, the puck movement, they played a faster game than the sum of their parts.
Yes.
The idea that Kevin Cheveldayoff, who also in that article says that it's got to come from within, which you've been preaching, you've got to be crazy to believe that it's just going to magically click from within. Looking at what you are looking at from just a physical tool standpoint. They have one move left to play. I will keep hammering that move home. But if you're Cheveldayoff and you're looking at this roster and you have the quote where you know you need to play a fast game in today's NHL, how the hell, and there was another quote about needing to be ahead of the curve and you can't rest on previous year's success. How the hell do you bet on Gustav Nyquist, John Toews, Luke Schenn, and Tanner Pearson then? Because you just said out loud you know what they need to look like.
Yep.
But all the actions leading up from last year's deadline suggests the complete opposite. Where is the optimism to come that this team could fundamentally play fast? Because I saw, who was it in the chat? Brett Lou, I think it was Brett U45 saying, it's weird though, or earlier in the chat said, the sad thing is, it actually looks like they are trying out there. They're just bad. To me, I saw a team that was putting in an effort today and was late to every decision, fumbling pucks once they got there. They are fundamentally a step behind in virtually every aspect of the game right now. And a team like Buffalo, who is on its own roller coaster this year, made them look silly.
Yeah, embarrass them. Absolutely. That's what happened tonight. The Jets were embarrassed by the, possibly worst team in the Eastern Conference. Adam Lowry himself said it right before he came back. Or it might have been right after he came back, that if you're a step behind in the NHL today, even just half a step behind in the NHL, it's going to be a really long night. And tonight, the Jets were more than half a step behind at every single aspect. Anytime that there was a puck battle, any 50-50 opportunity, they were a step behind. Dealing with the pressure that Buffalo was bringing, they were a step behind. There's the clip that I think Dave Manuk or Drew, one of the IC guys, put out of Luke Schenn giving up the puck that leads to the goal there. You can just see the slow processing, the slow movement, just being a complete, full step behind at every single spot tonight. So you can't win that way. Doesn't matter if you're playing Buffalo, doesn't matter if you're playing Colorado. They just looked like they were completely outmatched, which is crazy to think about when you look at, President's Trophy a year ago and who Buffalo is right now.
Yeah, a few thoughts over on YouTube. Then I'm going to jump over to Twitch as the comments are polling in here. What's amazing is Cheveldayoff said he didn't know that you need to play fast in this league. What was interesting, or I said the reverse there. What was interesting in that article, and I think this plays into what T. Will is saying, why is it that a lot of us could see this coming well before the season started, but the GM of this team couldn't? I know we were talking about them being 500 through the first couple months. It was a little concerning to me to hear Cheveldayoff talk about being so surprised it is what it is, when I think this was a possible circumstance from the bets he made. Now, someone else had mentioned, I think it was Choices TK over on Twitch, that he built a team believing he could throw anybody out there in front of 37 and win. And I do think this is another game where Connor Hellebuyck probably keeps this thing close. Like, it's probably 2-1 instead of 4-1 at the halfway point. But are you betting on the depth of this team or the top line to bury another one on a night like this where virtually everyone was playing in their own zone most of this night again?
No, Connor
There's
Hellebuyck.
big problems here.
Connor Hellebuyck he cleans up a lot of issues for the Jets. He makes a lot of games that they shouldn't be in competitive and one goal and gives them that chance, right? when they don't have that safety blanket, you're seeing on display all of the warts, all of the issues, all of the problems that, a big chunk of people noticed and said, hey, this is going to, rear its head. And like you said, they made the bets on the on experience being the missing piece, not the speed that was leaving, not the youth that was going. They decided at that point that it was experience that kept them from winning those games, and they doubled down hard on that. And we're seeing what that looks like right now, because it's not working. When we talked about mobile beef, right, that was a thing we kind of brought up because, yeah, you want size, but you also want somebody who can still play, who can keep up in today's NHL. The same thing goes for experience. The same thing goes with age. It's not that having an older or experienced player is bad, but they still need to be able to keep up. And if the guys that you've brought in to say these are going to be our ones, if they can't do that, what other result can there be at this point?
Yes, and I see this kind of plays into it, and it plays into their bigger issue. So I see Pierogies11 over on Twitch says, Perfetti needs to play with someone, needs someone to play with, feels like Line A again. Talk about how the Jets have drafted centers in Perfetti, Lambert, and neither can play center. And then you start to wonder, are they going to have some reservations of a smaller guy in Yager and move him over to the wing?
Yep.
We've seen that time and time again.
Yep.
But it's those kind of conversations that Pierogies is getting to here. And Broomerstick17 replied with, Perfetti needs a Line A type player, like a shooter, which I think makes sense because we all look at him as a distributor.
Yep.
And yet we got Taves, Nyquist, and Pearson in the offseason. And I think where Pierogies is going is actually the sum of the biggest issue and why we are here where we are. And this is a spot where the org has to do better and look at themselves more in the mirror. Is they front, and they still front, that they're this draft and develop team. And we got quotes from Chevy that what he's done the last couple of years with the, if you're a player, we want you to be here long, not short, and we're developing you for the long term. Where's the development of players at all? Like,
at all.
When you're so fundamentally sound in this idea of what development looks like, and you're not fundamentally developing any players, one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest, the Jets are where they are right now and are old is because they haven't been developing talent that is getting either opportunity, which could be what's holding it back, or the team doesn't think they're good enough, which says a lot about their own program. And that's why you're seeing them having to make older bets, and you see them go from a President's Trophy to the 32nd fastest team in the NHL when the GM's talking about needing to play fast. This is where the disconnect lies, is the fact that they have fallen off the draft and develop cliff. And we don't see players get opportunity. We see Luke Schenns and Logan Stanley's and Colin Miller's playing ahead of Elias Salmonson's right now. This is a place where you can look at it. Spare me that they beat the Nashville Predators.
Oh.
Woohoo! Woo! They beat the Nashville Predators. Got to stick to the process that gave us 4 losses in a row prior to that. Until they change their approach fundamentally, they have dug themselves this hole.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know how you're going to dig yourself out of it, because the help internally isn't there. There's no transformational piece currently in-house that can come in and save the day. There's no, number one center who's sitting on the shelf for us right now and who's coming back from injury. Like there's no internal help that's transformational. So that means you're either looking externally. Do you think that there's, transformational over-the-top help that's coming from the outside? No, I don't. Not right now. And I don't even know if they should be trying to add that right now with the way the season is shaping up.
Hold the pick. Hold the line.
You should be holding your first-round pick at this point. Like I said, it felt real nice when we drafted number 2 overall. I'd hate to toss that pick somewhere else to bring in another 30-year-old player that's going to just not take us anywhere farther than what they're doing right now. So the Jets are in a weird spot at the moment, right? Because they're going to say that we're still early in the season. Lots of things can happen. Lots of hockey left to play. There's so many points and there's parity and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But realistically, right, the math doesn't check out that way. We know that teams past this point in the season, it's been for the last 6 years in a row, 75 to 80% in between every single year of the teams that stay in the playoffs. The Jets are far out of it at the moment. They've got to climb so many teams. They're not getting overtime points, as we've pointed out before. This is the perfect storm of you should not be trying to, throw good money after bad. This is not the time to try to just dump something in to save a single, 2 whiteout games. later on in the year. I'm worried that there's going to be some type of reactionary thing that happens if the losses keep piling in this way.
And on the development topic, and we're going to move along here, we're going to get to the From Financial a little early today. We're going to open up those phone lines. Got a couple DMs that we're going to get some calls today, so we'll get to that early. But I'm Brett over on Twitch says, has anything changed with the development group of the Jets from when we developed Shifley, Connor, Ehlers, Trouba, and JMO? The first core draft and develop group, has anyone gotten fired from then or moved on to another team? Their head scout, right around the time things have changed,
Yes,
retired. And there was a change at the top of the organization there. One that
around
went to a guy that was beating the
2016-ish, around a certain tall player's time.
He may have beaten the table for it.
Yep.
As far as development, coaches in the AHL have changed a few times since that span. If I'm not mistaken, from Pascal Vincent to forget the guy in the middle, and then Mark Morrison now.
Yep.
So there's been changes in that regard. And says, how can Chevy look at the Moose development and not pluck the best guy out there from another team to stir this development forward? That is something maybe we're going to have to look at more. I know the Moose are hot right now, so it's maybe not a topic for this year with where the Moose are, but that is an interesting way to look at it.
Yep. It's interesting. I don't know if it's going to be the route that they go. They seem fairly reluctant to move any of the Moose players up, barring injury, which, we've heard right from the players' mouths themselves. I think they're going to keep slugging it out with this group.
And T-Will says the Jets were a draft and develop team until they got the first sniff of success. Then they abandoned draft and develop and went all in, even after constantly losing talent without replacing it, in which Angus points out that they've won one round since 2018 and how that's unacceptable. Or I guess it would be two now because the Edmonton in the last year.
Yeah.
Still not great after it looked like there was a ton of runway for where this thing was set up to go.
Yep.
And I do have a question for you on that topic, actually, because this was brought to my attention earlier. So last year was kind of what I would mark as the second best season in Winnipeg Jets 2.0. I find it hard to imagine 2017, 2018 gets beat in my lifetime. From a roster standpoint.
Yep.
We'll see. Maybe it happens someday, but that is like the pinnacle for me.
Yep.
But what is it to say with this organization that after both times they climbed up to a pretty NHL elite level, didn't quite get to the mountaintop, that they fell off the wayside and kind of ended up in these mediocre spots after seeing that success so quickly? It happened in 2018, 2019. With the injuries, and they went 500 during the back half of that season and got beat by St. Louis.
Yep.
And now we're almost seeing another version of it happening this year. Is there something to this org not knowing how to build off of success?
If you look at the top of the organization, they don't know what NHL success is. They don't have anybody at the top there. There's no proven leader that's leading the executive group here. Right? You've got an owner who's also your president of hockey operations. You've got a GM who's been here since day one. And if we remember the big, criticisms and complaints about things, at the very beginning, it was, well, this is still an AHL run organization. This feels like an American Hockey League team. The way they do things there feels very amateur. Yeah, we didn't change any of that. That's still who's running the team. So I don't know why we think that they would know how to all of a sudden, know how to win, know how to make the crude decisions, the crafty things to come out and win. They've never done it. People like to say, oh, Chevy was in Chicago. Look, according to him, he was never there, was only with the, he knew nothing about what was going on around him ever in Chicago. So he didn't get to learn anything, I guess. So it's a joke to say that they're going to, be the ones to know how to capitalize on it. They got hot twice, they struck gold, and then they went and, spent all that gold on really old horses. Yeah.
And Zero Ghost 8 says, Arneal said that Lowry initiated the closed-door meeting tonight and called the effort embarrassing, and that is one way to put it.
He's right.
As L. May 004 puts it on YouTube, building off success with an old core and no prospects is ... tough ? And I guess what I would counter to that is I don't think that that's necessarily a positive outlook on the org because this group built them to this point where they have no prospects, they have no farm system, and they've committed to an older team that's absolutely desperate to win right now. To me, that's a criticism when you look at the situation they find themselves in. And this is why I was so worried about locking everything down. The positive, if you want to find the optimistic side of this, is their core guys are still playing at a high level this year, and it is retooling of the depth that is needed here, and that is a lot easier to do. It would be a lot easier for this team to bounce out of this with as high a pick as possible. So I will be your unofficial tank commander, and I will give Connor Hellbuck PTO. He could take the rest of the year off after Olympics. We need some pain this year if we want to try and turn this around quick, honestly.
Yeah, it's nothing would be better for the Jets at this point than to add a really nice high-end young player at the top of the draft. That's the only way to salvage kind of where we're at the moment, because there's no way you can look at this group, the way that, things are going, and say, oh yeah, they're still going to be, in the mix for a spot in the Central, or they're going to get in and they're going to get hot. And how? In what way? Show me the way that, it's one thing if, they've just got a run of bad puck luck and, real weird bounces or whatever. That's not the case right now. You've got a bunch of guys who are they're fighting for it, but they're all being placed in bad spots. And I don't know. I don't think we've got the, like I said, I don't see the internal help coming.
And as DL puts it, apathy is not healthy for this organization, and that's always been my biggest concern. That is why I rallied so hard around making actual changes despite coming off a President's Trophy League team, because apathy will kick in with this core sign, and you're going to have to get real aggressive quick. As Brett, I don't think not many people see me this way. So Brett, you might have to spread the message saying, Nick, you truly are an optimist. I wouldn't have thought of it that way.
Damn
with
right.
How to turn this around quickly. I want this thing to be successful. I know a lot of people think I just hate the Winnipeg Jets, and I want this thing to fall apart. Quite the opposite. I've been worried that it was going to end up down this path, and it gets harder and harder each year that you don't solve this, especially with the ages of the team we're talking about, and you end up in some real dark places. Look at Calgary. Look at Long Island. I don't want the Winnipeg Jets to end up there. End all be all. That's my biggest thing, and I don't think that they necessarily have to with how it's currently set up. You could rebuild the depth of the team. We've seen Kevin Cheveldayoff do it.
Yep.
When Maurice left. That's how they got back to the level they are. But they're going to have to make some tougher decisions. They're going to have to look reality in the face and see that they failed this year. This is a failure.
Yep.
Top down. No matter how anyone wants to look at it, no matter if you think I'm looking at it rosily, they failed completely. And this will be a failure. The only thing Connor Hellebuck's going to come back and do is bring this to a level where we're not drafting high enough to turn this around. Yeah. And that's where my biggest fear lies, because then I don't trust that these guys can turn this around quickly. I need them to tank because I don't trust that they could actually do what's necessary if we don't get an elite talent off of lottery luck. And when Connor Hellebuck comes back, that gets real tough. So we'll see where the next 3 to 5 weeks go.
Yeah, the reason to sound the alarm now is because they're not too far gone, right? The core is still there. You can rework this core into something still. It's not that this is the complete end of the line here, but that's why you have to sound the alarm now, because if you keep waiting it out and go, it's another year and they'll draft in the middle somewhere and, Hellebuck will come back and they'll finish just outside the playoffs. And that's bad. That's not great if you want to be able to turn this around and get this core the deep playoff run that they deserve and that we all would love to watch.
And a fair point from Mr. Angus saying, I don't believe the core guys do want to win. 55 signed here long-term before he can do whatever he wants and have no consequences. And I do think that is a fair thought, because one of the biggest reasons that the Winnipeg Jets won't split up 55 and 81 is because 55 will become a miserable prick to be around. And at 33 years old, at some point, you're going to have to grow up and realize what most Canadians realize growing up, that sometimes you don't get to play with the guys you want and you got to do what's best for the team. I think that's a fair criticism. And I think the one thing I'm really looking for this year, I was talking to someone about this the other day. After the Olympic roster is announced, really watch Mark Scheifele closely.
Yeah.
His game fell off towards the end of Paul Maurice's years. I don't think we saw him play up to the Mark Scheifele standard with Dave Lowry.
Okay.
If this season becomes more and more lost, we're going to learn a lot more about Mark Scheifele, and I'm just saying that that's something you might want to watch for post-Olympic announcement.
Yeah, we've got a few guys on the team that their personal motivations are very plain on their face a lot of times, the way that they're feeling, and it translates into their game on the ice. So that's a real good thing to key in on and to keep an eye on for sure.
Let's get into the From Financial Faceoff. Then we'll open up the phone lines if you want to call in tonight. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's hit it.
Let's hit it.
Right on.
Right on indeed. For the From Financial Faceoff, we want to hear from you in the chat. And then as we finish up this segment, we will open up those phone lines. What was the difference between the Jets and the Sabres on this night? Why did the result go the way it did? Mikey, I want to hear from you first. What's your From Financial Faceoff here?
I cycled through a whole bunch of things tonight watching the game. There's a lot of individual, aspects of the game to pull out to say, they could have done this better. They should have done that better. They were bad on this. We've touched on some of them already. But for my From Financial Faceoff, just with the way things have been going, I just have a bit of a question. What do the Jets do well right now? What is the thing that is their thing, right? What is their identity at the moment? Because we've talked a lot about how they are the oldest team in the National Hockey League. So they're not a young team. They're the slowest team in terms of top speeds, bursts, all of that. So they're not a fast team. They're 14th in goals against per game. So they're not a defensive shutdown, type of thing. They're 10th for goals for per game, which is fine, but that's not elite. They're the 10th tallest team, so it's not like they're huge, and they're the 17th heaviest. So they're not some big bruisers. So why are they so... What is it? What is the thing right now the Jets do well? Because I searched my brain, I racked it during that game, and I can't find an answer at the moment.
Pierogies gives you one with they're very well at skating slow. Over on YouTube.
Thank you, Pierogies.
Tico Napoli says nothing and no team fears the Jets.
Yep.
Nicholas at night says they tie their skates well. So they get out there. They get out there fully clothed in their equipment.
That's true. Yeah.
John Chan agrees with you, saying the Jets don't have an identity right now.
Yep.
When you look at, what the Jets do really well? You know what they do really well right now?
Hit me.
They do very well at sticking to their plan.
Oh, that's true.
They do really well at being stubborn about they know what's best, and you can't possibly leave the little boxes you've drawn for yourself.
Trust the process.
You got to just keep shoving it in there. At some point, it's going to work.
That's right.
That's what they do really well.
You're right. Actually, yeah, that is true. They showed it last year. Same as this year. They do. They will stick to the plan.
There is a lot of from Financial Faceoffs today. Let's dive into them.
And remember, guys, 1-204-800-0409. Get on the line. Give us a call. Let's hear your thoughts.
Over on Twitch, Choices TK's From Financial Faceoff is at least no one got hurt. HH Living Locals is From Financial Faceoff is I am sad. The Moose Snuckler, good to see in the chat, bud, says From Financial Faceoff is 55 and 81, have to split up. If you can't have a $12 million run his own line by himself, what are you spending the money on? Preaching to the choir, man, because once you start making that kind of money and you have a team that has the roster holes the Winnipeg Jets have right now, you have to. It's their only solution that they have not tried to give themselves a chance fighting with two lines, because right now it's one and a bottom nine that you could pick who the fourth line is, who the second, who the third is. You don't got anything behind them. At some point, you got to bite the bullet and put your goddamn egos aside. Guess what? You can still sit beside each other in the locker room. Guess what? You're going to play power play one together. Guess what? Even for ozone faceoffs, you can go out there and try and take advantage of an icing.
Yeah, 100%. There's ways to get creative with it if they weren't so rigid. I have a legitimate question for you. If the players went to the coach and said, "Hey, we want to be split up. We think we can do more help if you broke us up and put us on different lines." Do you think, like, is Is a coach going to be receptive to that type of thing?
Oh
Players
yeah,
wanting to dictate?
They would.
Yeah.
No, they would do it. There's not a chance Mark Scheifele would ever do that, though.
No, I
that
know.
is the real problem here. Let's just put it out there. That is the real problem
Yeah.
and why this is even a thing.
Yeah.
They would 100% try it at this point if they were
if the
receptive.
players were coming
I
to them and
guarantee
say
you,
it.
because of his last time and because of what's above him, that Arniel is scared of losing the room.
Yes.
And because of Mark Scheifele's history, guess what might do it?
Yep.
And that's the sad reality, and there's a bigger conversation to be had if that is true. But if you read between the lines of a lot of shit the last few years,
Yep.
pretty easy to arrive there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just curious to see what you thought if it's the players
would.
coming to him at that point to say, hey, like we think this needs to happen if they're receptive.
Over on YouTube, we'll keep diving through these from financial face-offs. But Nicholas at Night points out 15 years, 4 playoff round wins, 4 head coaches, 3 with previous ties to the org, 2 step down on their own. Nothing but a good time club. No ruthlessness. They don't have a clue how to build a winner.
Yep.
Hard to disagree with any of that.
It's true.
Tico Napali's from financial face-off, no game face whatsoever. And you know what bothered me, and I want to credit Logan Stanley, actually. Good for Logan Stanley jumping Krebs and getting that punch in, because it pissed me off that no one went after Rasmus Dahlin on that low
On the
bridge
Velarde
on Gabe
one.
Velarde.
What the fuck?
That was dirty, man.
didn't even-
That was intentional to me.
It didn't even draw a crowd. They didn't even there was not a scuffle. Everybody just kind of went off on their own thing. I was shocked that nobody even said a word about it. I'm one of the first people to complain about after every clean hit, there's a scuffle. That shit drives me nuts. But to have somebody go out there, no fucking puck anywhere near him, dumps him over like that, it's perfectly clear that is a dirty fucking play, and he can get hurt, and nobody came to his aid. Does nobody like Gabe? What the fuck?
Yeah, that was intentional. No matter how
Shocked.
he made that look, you don't just randomly low bridge someone without the puck in the knee.
Right,
And
come
that's
on.
the kind of thing that could cost him time. We've seen Gabe's knee blow up already once.
Yeah, that's a dangerous play.
On the Dahlin topic, what a fucking defenseman, though. When he casually kicks that puck off Mark Scheifele's skate and takes a 4-on-2 the other way.
Come on.
Real good player, but I think that the league should at least look at that. Like, you want to be careful when you're setting bridges at guys' knees. That's not a precedent you want to look at. Zero Ghost 8 says the From Financial Faceoff is the relentless dumpster fire everywhere. And we saw issues all over the ice.
Yep.
We saw this game start off with Vlad Nemestikov sending a blind pass at the ozone blue line for one of my favorites, Zach Benson, to pick it off.
Yep.
It makes Dylan DeMello take a holding penalty when he gets beat. And then the Buffalo power play goes to work. And the Jets had a couple of chances to get it out. They don't. Jason Zucker bangs one in. And then on the very next shift, within 15 seconds?
18 seconds.
18 seconds, Dahlin rims it. It gets poked to the middle of the ice. No, that was later in the game. Logan Stanley pinches and touches nobody.
Yes.
Misses the puck, misses everything. And all of a sudden there's a 3-on-1 back the other way.
Yep.
With Stanley and Shave back checking. It ends up on Byram's stick, who beats Comrie high. Then there's the goal off the goal line where Shen gets sucked up, and Comrie's got to have that one off the line.
He wants that one back.
There was just disasters all over the place. The Winnipeg Jets top pair gets beat through the middle of the ice on the one that I was referencing where Dahlin rims it, and it gets poked to the middle for Josh Norris. Josh Norris, who knew he still played hockey and spent time at the hospital. He's got 2 goals on the Jets in his return back.
First game back and just putting it up on us.
And all he did was beat them with speed because the Winnipeg Jets can't skate.
Yep, they can't. Anytime we're up against a team with a little bit of speed that can move the puck from their D, we're fucked. We give up the space. We pull back. It's going to be a rough game on Wednesday. I'm real worried for how that's going to look with Lane Hudson tearing down on the Jets.
Kevin K says from Financial Faceoff is speed, hot, nasty, badass speed, in which Cranberry also says speed, lack thereof. And that was certainly on display in this one. And I see a team that is trying to play a system that they just can't do.
Yep.
Like, they're one step slow to various spots. And then they're under pressure and they're coughing pucks up. The bottom 4 today, I'd seen someone, again, we talked about the Sandberg thing last show. that bottom four, you couldn't trust them to do absolutely anything
Nothing.
today.
Nothing.
Anytime the puck's on their stick, it's probably ending up on Buffalo's stick. And then they're going to cycle it around. They're going to get quality looks. They can't get up the ice. It's no wonder part of the reason the Jets can't score goals is they're playing two deep pairs that can't move up the ice.
Yep.
Luke Shen, I admire your career. It is time to retire.
Yep.
Elias Salmonson, please play next game.
So it was pointed out quite a bit how the Jets really like to deploy that number one pairing with the number one line every single fucking time, like constantly, which is it's hampering the rest of the lineup, right? It's absolutely handcuffing because the other two pairs are useless at the moment. Like again, they won't break up the top line to try to spread it out. They won't take the one pairing that is able to move things around and try to give a little bit of support to the rest of the lineup. They're so stuck in this this is your role, this is your job, this is when you go out. Whatever's happening in the game, be damned, I guess.
Yeah, you got to stick to the plan, brother. You got to stick to what you always believed was going to be true, even when you're wrong. You just got to keep chugging away. That's the Winnipeg way, man. There is no other answers. There is no possible other solutions. We're just talking out of our ass. There's no ways around this. There's no ways you could soften the blow or try anything.
Nope, because they won the President's Trophy last year. So it solidified their idea that, yeah, you're right. We should just keep sticking to the plan and it'll right itself. And
At
it's not,
Blake
not happening.
G's from Financial Faceoff is the Jets do well with maintaining a country club atmosphere. Come to Winnipeg, face no criticism internally. Your job is safe here. At Aldame, you're seeing the vision. It says if it's a top 10 draft pick, he could be an immediate impact maker. That's what they need at this point.
Yep.
Especially with the farm system worth where it is.
Yep.
From Financial Faceoff from T. Will is the lack of overall talent, either pure talent or just speed, which can cover for a lack of pure talent. Zero Ghost 8 says the Jets excel at being the best friends of the old folks home as his from Financial Face-Off. Yeah, we beat the Preds, so we're not as bad as them. But when it comes to retirement homes, we're still not very good.
We're right there.
Mooch Winnipeg reminds everybody, and this is what's important. It's always important in Winnipeg. From Financial Face-Off from Mooch Winnipeg. Trust the process, boys.
Trust the process. That's
Just
right.
got to keep trusting this process no matter where it can take you.
So do you think we see the same lineup on Wednesday that we saw today?
Probably.
Right.
this
Trust the
team
process.
has no nuts.
Let's do it.
This team doesn't have the nuts.
Run it back.
If
It's just me.
If you
Oops.
don't sit a vet after this, or if you don't make a meaningful grenade into your lineup to send a message after this, all of these words in the media continue to mean nothing. The players don't have to worry about them. The GM doesn't have to worry about them because he doesn't have a coach that's going to act on them.
Yep.
I'll believe it when I see it at this point, Mr.
Yep.
Arneal. And I've defended you a lot this year. I'll believe that there's big changes coming when I physically see them. And if it doesn't include splitting up 81 and 55, guess what? I'm not overly interested until you have the balls to give it a try and see what the hell you can do with your supposed Olympian-level best players driving their own lines. You don't have another hope. You're fucked regardless.
Yep.
You keep going down this path, you're fucked. So why not try something else?
Right.
Why not?
You're
Why
not winning.
Elias Salmonson, top four, split up Connor and Scheifele. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Well, I don't
Give me
know.
a bone.
I mean, he sent such a message today, sitting Eric Comrie. So, I don't know if the guys are ready for such a big thing to happen. I don't know if they'll even have recovered yet. That was such a message sent from the coach to sit Eric Comrie. I can't believe they didn't spark right up from that.
Mr. Angus says 55 learned from 26 how to use a pro sports team to massage his ego nonstop over winning or selfishly doing what's best for the group over what's best for you as an individual.
Yep.
And we're gonna see how much that theory is tested pending his Olympian. But Al Dame makes a great point here saying, too, holy God, you all appreciate Mark Scheifele at 8.5. Arneal is coach if he wants to split up the top line. I don't think Mark would fight him. I do think you'd be a little surprised with Mark Scheifele's reaction. I do.
Yeah, and it's more so that we've talked about Arneal tends to coach a little bit scared when it comes to the roster, right? Again, it's a guy who's dealing with the leftover PTSD of getting locked out of his first locker room and not getting another shot for quite a long time after that. So I think it's more so he knows what is what. He knows what's going to piss off, those guys. I don't think it's that it's Scheifele's bursting into Arniel's office and saying, "You're not allowed to break us up." But Arniel knows. He knows where, he can read between the lines just like everybody else can. And he knows where his bread is buttered. And he's probably been told maybe by a higher up at some point, "Hey, man, So it's not so much that Mark is, big dicking him outwardly. It's more so that I think it's just a guy who's afraid of losing his locker room again.
And as Turd puts it here, because I'm so tired of hearing the reasons why they can't split up the top line is, well, it's the only thing going. So if they don't have that, guess what? They won't have anything. Guess what? If it's the only thing going and you're not getting wins,
they're already getting nothing.
What's the difference? As Turd Ferguson says here, if we split up the top line up, we might have lost 5-0 today, and that would have been really embarrassing.
Really
you
embarrassing.
guys.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, we're not solving splitting the atom here. You can get creative and still get them beside each other. You have nothing to lose at this point. Please come to your senses and please try to do the nuclear option. Unless hey, if they're content and sticking to the process, it is tank approved, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
I'm here for it. This org needs to be humbled a little bit, and they're kind of getting it right now.
Yep, it's true. That's when you look at the decisions they've actively made in the last 18 months, right? The things that not have happened to them, not an act of God. The choices they have made as an organization at the top over the last 18 months, and then you look at what the problems currently are afflicting this team. That Venn diagram is a fucking circle. Right? They've got nowhere else to look but square in the mirror as to why this has gone so far off the rails.
As Kevin K points out, Bones had to put 55 on the wing for half a game. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
And Nicholas at night says, what's the point in even having a coach at this point? Hey, in Winnipeg, there's a framework, there's a law book that all of this stems from. Everything comes after this. This is how you got to envision the Winnipeg Jets. There's the top line. There's Adam Lowry's shutdown line 3.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you have left after those, and Adam Lowry's line again was dog shit tonight, if we're being completely honest.
Yep.
But whatever you have left after making those two lines, you will then try and make a second line that is never going to be good enough in this league. And then from there, you have whatever pieces left in your fourth. And then on the point, you know who your top 4 is. And then you have Logan Stanley, Luke Shen prioritized. How do you arrive here, man? There are so many guys. I was sitting there watching today, and I watched an offensive rush down 2 goals where I'm like, oh, here we go. The Jets have an odd man rush. And it's Tanner Pearson stopping up to drop a pass to Luke Shen.
Yep.
In 2025 in the NHL, we're trying to make a comeback with Tanner Pearson leading the way and dropping it offensively to Luke Shen, who decided he was Bobby Orr in the third period. Did you see the dangles try and come out for whatever reason?
The slowest dangles
from
in my life.
From a guy that I'm seeing talked about as, hey, it's what he does in the room. It's the hits he throws. What about what he's fucking putting his goaltender under siege every single game? And now he's playing not even basic. He thinks he's Luke Orr at the blue line?
Gonna walk the blue line.
Like, come on, man. Enough is enough. As Tikona Pauly says, that is beer league.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something you'd see at the Highlander. You know what I mean? That was ridiculous. They let the results overshadow any of the process. They saw a win against Nashville and, Shen got on the scoreboard. So how could you take him out? That's a winning roster. Because we watched the game, right? Like, you all watched the game too, guys. You saw that doesn't matter that he had 2 points. He was bad. He was objectively bad in that game. I don't care that he had 2 assists. That should not have factored into whether or not he's playing today. But again, it's come down to, well, we're going to look at the process and the loyalty and da-da-da-da-da, and not so much, what's giving us the best chance to win on the ice.
Yeah, and hey, don't take it from us, but Chris Pronger, they're not getting any offense from the second, third, or fourth lines, and that's going to be a struggle to even make the playoffs if this continues. You want to know why we're amped up? This season is on the brink, and we had said coming out of last year, we were hoping 2 out of the next 3 they had to win.
Yep.
Guess what? They're down to 2 out of 2, and it gets real hard from there. The fat lady might be singing here early in November.
Yep. Chris Pronger saw it. Hickey saw it between the benches. He had quite a few comments tonight about it. Everybody outside of this organization can clearly see, because it's not a hidden thing. This isn't some weird mystery about what's going on with the Jets. It's not like this is some juggernaut team that all of a sudden is dried up. You can very clearly see where the problems are and where they aren't. And for some reason, we decided to double down on the parts of the roster that are just bleeding out. And I just don't know how they fix it right now. I truly don't.
Well, if you have the answers and you're tuned into this show right now, feel free to call in at 204-800-0409. I think the answers are becoming increasingly more obvious.
Yep.
And it is that things are going the wrong way. Positive, though, maybe. How did you like Milic when he came in from Eric Comrie?
I really liked Milic's game when he came in again. That's 2 games back-to-back that he's really impressed me. Again, best hockey that I've seen Milic play is the last 2 games for these Winnipeg Jets. I'd be going back to Milic on Wednesday for sure. Again, not even a shot at Comrie. It's not that he's terrible or whatever. He maybe wanted one of those goals back for sure. But I just think he's being played way over his head right now. Give him a chance to breathe. Let him sit that one out. Get Milic in there. Whether they, even if they lose, who gives a shit, because they probably would have lost with Comrie anyways at that point. It's your goalie is not your problem right now. Like we've talked about, Comrie or Hellebuck covers up a lot of warts and shit, but that's not what their big issue is in terms of winning games right now. So it doesn't really matter which one plays, but I'd like to see Milic get in there again to keep looking at what we have in him. Same way I'd rather seeing Salo play. But we'll see what Arniel comes back with. He may need to have Comrie start so he can send a message to the guys if they don't start fast.
Yeah, I like what we saw from Milic. He looks like he commands the crease pretty well for a guy that relies on athleticism. I thought he made some big saves in this one for a guy coming in cold. Yeah, for me, we'll see what happens. I do think goaltending was a problem today in this one, especially with 2 out of the 3 or 4 or 3 that Comrie let in that first period. You probably leave that period with a 1-1 game with Connor Hellebuck, but you just can't take away from the fact that what you're now seeing in front of Connor Hellebuck. This should be the big takeaway is what this team looks like without him saving their bacon. Because this isn't a contending team. This team's absolute ceiling is sneaking into the wild card and getting fucking shellacked by Colorado in 4 games. That last Colorado series, we'll be watching that to feel good about what it would look like this year.
Tell me about it.
That's the upside of what's going on in Winnipeg right now.
Yep. You ready for a phone call?
Yeah, let's go to the phones.
Excellent. I've got the mayor of Transcona.
Sounds good.
Mr. Mayor, you're on the landing strip.
Yeah, well, where would you begin? Let me think. Okay, well, you're bang on there, Mikey, but it's not a goaltending problem, although it totally is. I mean, in reality, as soon as Hellebuck went down, the team was so fragile, all confidence was up from the room before Comrie even put a pad on. Then Comrie gets out there, and instead of having his best game, well, it don't go that great. So now he's building off losses, which is very hard to build any confidence on for him and the team, So it's a goaltending problem, but it ain't a goaltending problem.
Yep.
Especially because the team is playing like total dog shit in front of them, right? Like there's no effort, there's no fight, there's no battle. Like what's there to fear from the Jets? The only thing to really fear, it appears, was Hellebuck, the goaltending.
Yep. As Al.May says, it just goes to show how insane Hellebuck is.
Well, I'm not as big a fan as far as his style of watching him, but let's face it, I'm a tiny goaltender. He's big. He fills that whole bloody net up all the time. It's the bigger goaltenders have taken over the dominance of the league for that reason. And you see Comrie and it'll soon to probably be Millet, struggle with that small goalie syndrome or whatever you want to call it, to battle night in, night out to be a starter. You know, it's easy to come in off the bench or the odd game and be that backup. But to start at that, I mean, how Saros has done it for the last couple of years is beyond me. But, I mean, there's, I guess, the rule to each exception. But on average, it's why goalies 6 feet, tall, they don't even get looked at anymore. If you're 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and you play that style, you fill up that net, and you're seeing that obviously Hellebuck has that mastered. And, I mean, does this ever prove that he should have won the Hart last year? I mean, has there ever been more proof in the pudding to a guy winning the Hart Trophy?
Yeah.
The whole team has collapsed around them. Like they're fragile. They collapsed around them. They depend on them that much. So, okay, it's not a goaltending problem. Fair enough, because they don't play very good in front of, I guess they broke out of that structure. Okay, the next problem then that it is exactly what you said. It's like the culture, loyalty. It's just, we're not building a car dealership or a real estate program here based on loyalty. It's pro hockey. It's pro sports. You have to go with, what's hot and what ain't. Like, I'm losing my train of thought here, but I mean, this Shifley thing, we all know he's not allowing them to split up him and Connor. That it has to be. There's no other way it ain't. So, like, at this point, coach has to put the foot down, and if coach is being stymied by the GM or the manager or the owner, like, this is going to cost Winnipeg hockey again eventually. I mean, do I dare say it? Like, is it time to break those guys up if they don't want to be broken up on the team? Maybe it's time to ship one of them out. New contracts or not. That's the nuclear option. That's the nuclear option to changing the culture of the. You know what I'm trying to get at there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, like 20 minutes ago, how it's the framework of your organization and that. And let's face it, if they're going to let players call the shots all the time, and I get it, they're prima donnas, they make millions, it's the way it goes now. But I mean, like, you got to take that back a little bit. And in a small market like Winnipeg, you're never going to have success if you let any one player run the team in New York. And I mean, if they want to prove that to us on the next day game, then they will have that line split up. If they do not split that line up, then they're just proving to us. And maybe you can, use some better wording and articulate around what I'm trying to get at there. But I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep. We're going to basically, Tikona, what I'm hearing from you is we're about to find out a lot about the Winnipeg Jets and what's really going on during this stretch, how stubborn things are in that room. And hey, I look forward to hearing from you as we discover those things. Thanks for calling in, Tikona. Always great to hear from the mayor.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So what do you think about the nuclear option? Are the Jets anywhere near the big red button yet?
I'm not quite there yet myself, but I admire it. If you could get something big going, I wouldn't be opposed.
You would trade Kyle Connor today if you could. Let's be real. Be honest. You would trade Kyle Connor today if you could. Yeah, you would. Yeah, there it is. Excellent. You ready for El Camino?
Let's hear from Al.
Al, you're on the landing strip.
Hey, gentlemen. Just want to pour a little bit of cold water on this tank thing.
Okay. Let's hear it.
It's probably more important they pick second rather than first. There's some Greg Oden, Kevin Durant thing going on here with Gavin McKenna probably. Thinking that
I like this.
The defensive North Dakota, can't remember his name.
Keaton Verhoff.
Might be the better prospect. McKenna was an older player last year in the dub for his age, so I don't know. Just it'd be easier for the Jets to not screw it up as much. So
what if Verhoff goes one though? You'd rather be in the spot where you get to make that call.
True, but just they'll make the wrong call no matter what. So just take the guy that doesn't get picked and cross your fingers. That's my point.
Give it up to the universe. Let the hockey gods decide for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for the call, Al. On that topic, to pour more cold water on it, when Connor Hellebuck comes back, this team will win games, and we're going to need a big stroke of lottery luck to be talking about those two names. I do think the Keaton Verhoff thing is interesting, especially with Chipman being so tied to UND, Verhoff being an Alberta boy that went to UND. Talk about a position that they've been searching for since Buff left in a top right-handed D.
Yep.
Interesting conversations. I want it to happen based on what I'm seeing this year because I have no faith that this team could win a game, maybe two, in the playoffs. But I do think ultimately Connor Hellebuck's going to save their bacon a little bit too much here.
Oh, Al left. Yes, sorry about that. I thought he was still there to respond. Yeah, when Hellebuck comes back, it's going to be tough to stay in the hunt for a top lottery spot. That's going to be it's going to be tough when they finish just outside the playoff line and have to draft whatever it is 16th.
And I was having this conversation with my brother earlier. Actually, May points out we need a center so bad.
We need a center. We need a top right D. We need a winger. We need another winger. I think we need a couple things.
The center thing's so valid, though. We were having this conversation earlier because if we believe this team could bounce back after one down year, like you would almost need to poach that center as Mark goes the other way, unless you really, really, really believe in the Yager. Man,
I believe that they're going to move him to wing at some point.
Would be a great problem to have around this conversation, but talk about that. That would be an interesting debate as we get closer to that.
Yep, absolutely.
Jordan Voss says, not drawing a crowd after the Leaf teammate gets wrecked is so Leaf. You are the Leafs. What do we feel about being compared to the Toronto Maple Leafs, who find themselves in a similar situation here? I've always seen a bit of parallels from their core, even though they're built quite differently. And they're both really struggling to succeed this year. The Leafs probably even worse than the Jets so far.
Just with the expectations, you know? Yep.
Yeah. May points out Salo could play with Josh. Yeager cannot be a 1C, and that is something that is totally valid in the whole debate with prospects. I would love to have that debate if that's what we're talking about in April. I will be your tank commander. We will find the optimism this year.
It's too bad hockey doesn't work like soccer, where you can loan players out for a season. Like, this is a lost year for the Jets. Loan Hellebuck to somebody who needs a goalie for the rest of the year, and he comes back in the offseason. We get a draft pick, everybody wins.
Pierogi says, wasn't Perfetti supposed to be a center? I'd rather have Lundell. And that's where I tend to fall. So that's a good point, too, with this. I was on the board that year. I wanted Marco Rossi, Cole Perfetti, or Anton Lundell. Yep. All of a sudden, 2 out of the 3 are available. I was content with either choice, with the caveat being that person was going to be your 2C moving forward. We got like one game of Cole Perfetti playing center in the NHL throughout his career here. They abandoned it so quick. He's a less valuable player organizationally on the wing. That is a great point that they would have to be sure that they're grabbing a center, because look what they did the last top 10 that was supposed to be a center. And you look at Anton Lundell in Florida and what he's done for that group. Whew. And then obviously the hometown Seth Jarvis one as well.
Yep. Yeah, that would have been nice.
You butchered your own asset approaching it that way.
Yep. We've got Perfetti that they've moved off and is now a winger. You've got Lambert, who they've moved off and is now a winger. They keep drafting guys as centers and then toss them off to the wing because they don't like their size, which is really what it ends up being each time. They feel they're a little undersized for center. They want bigger centers, and with the Winnipeg Jets, they want some size down the middle and da-da-da. So these skilled players keep getting bumped off to the wing. So I don't have a lot of faith that Yeager, when he gets his call up to the Jets, an opportunity, whatever year that ends up being in, that it's going to be at center.
Here's a question for you. What did you think of Chris Pronger's comparison for Gabe Velarde, that being he's a poor man's Mark Stone?
That was an interesting comparison. That was I I don't know if their games really translate the same way, unless I'm remembering Mark Stone wrong. I feel like Gabe's got a little bit more finesse to his game than what Stone did. Stone was a little bit more of a, I don't want to say a power forward, quote unquote, but like he was a little bit more willing to get to the tougher areas. But I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it was an interesting comparison. Poor man's would definitely be where I would be with it.
Yeah.
But I also do think that's a compliment because Mark Stone, in my viewpoint, was a top 5 two-way center throughout his prime. I think Gabe Vilardi doesn't have the back-checking prowess that a Mark Stone does to turn plays over the other way. But they're both slower in stature players, both playing on the right wing. Gabe Vilardi, when he does get in range, and like I guess both haven't been as gifted with speed. Gabe Vilardi is a pretty good player when he's in range at doing the stick check and turning plays over. It's just not as common as someone like Mark Stone, who it seems like is doing it every shift. Definitely found that as an interesting comp from Chris Pronger. Not necessarily super accurate, but we're talking poor man's does give a lot of gap between there.
Very interesting. True. Yep. And yeah, definitely a compliment. Zero Ghost 8 over on Twitch has a a quote. So one of the reporters asked Scott Arniel about sitting Kepke and Salamonson against a fast team like Buffalo. Should they have played? What about next game? Arniel's response: everything is in play here. We'll see where we are. We'll check with our injured guys. We'll look at this and we'll make a decision. So, yeah, no, unless anybody's hurt, there's no change coming to the lineup. It's going to be the same group of guys that are going to be popping in against Montreal on Wednesday. Maybe Shen sits. Maybe maybe Miller sits. He likes doing that. Maybe.
And on that topic, Pierogies 11. Salmonson needs to play games just like Mo did with Buff. Give the youngsters some time. And that quote came from Mike McIntyre, who is the only one on the beat on the road. So I wanted to shout that out with the free press. Yeah, I would like to see Salmonson in. I think there's more value in him getting NHL games than playing any of Logan Stanley, Luke Schenn, Colin Miller at this point.
Yep.
Pick your poison.
Even Miller wasn't terrible. Like, Miller was fine. He's never incredible, but he was okay.
I didn't love that pairing, to be honest.
The pairing was bad in general,
yeah. Pick any of those three. Elias Salmonson should be playing over them.
Correct. Oh, yeah, he should be playing over any of the three. Yeah, no question. Although Pionk might be back for Wednesday, the way that things have been progressing, so that may leave this all moot.
Al Camillo says, translation, nothing new coming, and that's definitely the Winnipeg way.
Yep.
They will keep trucking along, and we'll be all miserable for it. But at some point, they're going to put themselves in a hole that's going to benefit us. But we will remember who put them in that hole, and it was themselves. Also on the topic post-game, Mike McIntyre asked Scott Arniel how this team got beat so much on the rush. Arniel said they talked about it, watched video, knew it was coming. Whether that's stubborn or whether that's not being quick enough, not reading the situation fast enough, yeah, we kicked ourselves.
It's the first one. It's stubborn. It's the first one. It's stubborn, and it's you. It's stubborn. That's what the problem is. It's you. It's stubborn.
No, not quite. Not quite.
I'm sticking with it. This was the lineup they put in against a team. Like, they don't have great options that they're going to do. Like,
correct.
They don't have the options to go on. Hold on.
Him.
I'm not saying it's all, but they don't have the options to go on some great run. Absolutely. However, they're still shooting themselves in the foot with the choices that they are making. It's the same thing as saying, the goaltending was bad tonight. But at the end of the day, the goaltending isn't the biggest issue that they're facing, right? There are two different things going on here. Yeah, their talent level overall is fucking dog shit outside of the core guys, but also the choices that Scott Arniel is making is not helping the group at all right now.
They're also not going to make a difference between a 5-1 hockey game. So
nope,
to paint that as the biggest of the three.
Would you rather?
The other two,
would you rather the 4-1? Hold on. Would you rather the 4-1 loss and a dog shit, way that things kind of looked, or a 5-1 loss, but at least there was something to look at in that game where you've got Salo in, you've got the younger guys, you're trying to figure out in a lost season they should be trying these things out.
I know, but they don't view it as a lost season,
and that's why that's what I'm saying. It's stubborn. That's why it's stubborn.
But also, like, a 4-1 versus 5-1. To say that is all coaching decisions. Like you're
It's
talking
not
about
all.
a big
It's
loss
not
either
all.
way.
It's not all. But they're not doing
that's-
themselves any favors right now.
You're correct, but that's why I would say that the other two options are the bigger problems than the stubbornness problem.
Fair. All right. That's fair.
Like
They are
talking
bigger.
about them. Yes, it's number 3 of 3. Like they won't go to the nuclear option out of stubbornness, and it's like their only shot at winning. Like that's where it's at right now. Is like them trying that is their only shot.
I don't even care about the winning
But
at this point. I just want to see some process. I want to see the young, something.
But that's why it's like we can't say the coach is number 1 of those 3. It's just even with a different process, like this team's not good. This team
True.
is not
Very
good
true.
at hockey.
The talent level outside of the core is dog shit.
And choices to case even more from Scott or Neil here. You're hoping that the response into our next game is a lot better than what it was tonight. We're a veteran group. We recognize that we just embarrassed ourselves, and we're gonna have to be a heck of a lot. Oh yeah, we're seeing the exact.
You're
same
seeing the
team
same,
get another chance.
You're hoping the response is a
yeah.
lot better than what it was tonight. Yeah, we were hoping that for the last 3 games in a row, and there was no change to it.
They were able to hold on against Nashville.
I
There
still
we
count
go.
that as a loss.
That's proof. That's proof that the process works. They beat frickin' Nashville. All right. Yeah.
And
no
we're a veteran
changes
group.
coming.
We're a veteran group, which means
You just
we're the
gotta trust
oldest
the
group
vets
and
to
nothing's
figure it out.
happening. Yeah, that's great.
You just gotta trust the.
Don't
vets
ask
to
me
figure
about
it out.
Elias Salamonson. We're a veteran group. Don't ask me about it. We're a veteran group.
I also did want to point out, similar to Tico Napoli's call and talking about the goaltending confidence in the team, I will say I got a text from the what's it called, doctor, the body language doctor, my mom today after goal number 3. If the Jets are hanging their heads already in the second period, what will they be like 4 weeks from now?
Yep.
Not good. Not good. The body language doctor was all over it. Do you think this team's starting to slip? Have they lost their confidence in what's behind them? And does this slide get even uglier?
It's starting to feel like we're approaching the territory of losing confidence, of starting to let the bad thoughts creep in a little bit more, because you can't keep losing again and again and again and again and not have it affect you, and you can't keep losing in such embarrassing fashion and not have it affect you. They're a veteran group. They recognize that they were just embarrassed, so they should know. They should be feeling bad about it. So yeah, there's no way that it can't affect them. Now the question is it going to affect them in a way where they buckle down, refocus, turn the clocks back, find the fountain of youth? They're going to, show us 2014, versions of Gustav Nyquist. Or are we, going to sulk and, wallow in our own misery about it and blame, all the external factors? We'll see.
Yeah. Going against a team right now with how this team's looked, that has both Dobson and Hudson running things from the point, is not the type of matchup I think this team will be comfortable playing with.
No.
At the moment, we'll see how the Montreal game goes.
You're not winning the dump and chase battle in that game. You're just not going to. You can try to keep dumping it behind them all you want. They're going to eat you a fucking live if they approach the forecheck the same way tonight, as they did tonight.
Yeah, it could get bad up ice, and we've seen this team's getting beat and railroaded in transition more and more. Used to be their specialty. It's coming against them. I do worry about what Montreal and what they have coming out their back end will hurt. And Tico Napoli says, no effing kidding. Mom knows. Mom knows.
Mom knows.
Let's get into the 3 stars, and then we'll start moving into Wednesday's Montreal game in what all of a sudden looks like it might be a daunting week for the Winnipeg Jets again.
Even before we hit the Habs game, I just want to say one silver lining at least. We'll probably go to overtime in that game, considering the Habs do that every second game right now. So there's a loser point up for the Jets, so that'll be nice.
Are they capable of playing in a loser point scenario? We've only seen 2 of them.
That it'll be a lot like Floyd Mayweather fighting Conor McGregor. They'll carry them all the way to the overtime. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Let's hit the 3 stars.
Let's hit it.
Right on. Oh,
where are you going with this one?
We have one last call come through if you want to take it before we hit the 3 stars.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right on. We've got your average Jets fan on the landing strip.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm gonna keep this one short. I just want to say that us Jets fans, we cannot clown anything the Toronto Maple Leafs do because we kind of just recreated the Mitch Marner Moneyball replacement with Nikolai Ehlers, and it'll never happen. But put Chevy on the hot seat. Have a great one, boys. I'm not going to say anything else, otherwise my head's going to explode. Take care, Jets.
Thanks.
Take care, buddy. You have a great night. Mikey, 3 stars. Who you got tonight?
Right on. So for my third star, I'm giving it out to the Amazon broadcast. I've really enjoyed the broadcast these last couple years being on Amazon. I love the pregame stuff. I've enjoyed their commentators and things. They've put together a pretty good team. So the broadcast, also just for being real, for calling out the issues that the Jets were having, seeing it. A hell of a lot better than what was happening in the pregame with Millard and Shannon. Oh dear God. So yeah, third star is the Amazon broadcast. Second star, I'm giving it out for just a individual single play, nothing else in the rest of the game. But Cole Perfetti for saving that goal in the second period, diving behind Comrie and being able to keep that one out there. So I'm gonna give Cole Perfetti my second star just for one play in general. And number 1 star, Milic, I'm going to give it out to him for coming into that dog shit game, getting just absolutely hung out there after Comrie. He was sending a message by sending Milic out there, and I think he's played some pretty good hockey these last 2 games. So in a sea of garbage, I'm giving it out to Milic.
Sounds good. I'm going to go number 3. I'll go Rasmus Dahlin. Don't get to watch him a ton. That one play with Mark Scheifele just really stood out to me. Gets away with a dirty hit, but he's a number 1 defenseman that does a bit of everything in this game. Number 2, I'm going to go Zach Benson, my favorite player to watch with the Winnipeg Ice back in the day. Impacted this game real early, drawing that turnover and power play, and added 2 assists on the night. He is involved in everything. Zach Benson, number 2 star. And number 1, we're going to go, comes off the injured reserve. We'll see how many games he lasts. He's not known for playing hockey very much. But Josh Norris is able to hang 2 goals and an assist flying through the Winnipeg Jets tonight. He will be my first star. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, let your friends know about this. We'll be back after the Montreal game, and we'll see how stubborn the Winnipeg Jets really are.
Right on. Good night, everybody.